So I just want to take a few minutes and say something that to you may be just really crazy and may sound very bizarre, but I'm saying it because somebody's got to say it, and because paranormal things is what we do. Let's talk about these 3 mysterious Kansas City Chiefs fans that died just last week. Now, first of all, of course, this is a serious tragedy. I mean, these were men that had families and loved ones. And this is stuff that cannot be taken lightly. And please do not think for 1 second that I take what happened to these men lightly. What we see with the explanations that they're giving, it really sounds like somebody's taking it lightly. And there are some serious questions that are not being asked. And I'm going to ask those questions because what this is really starting to sound like to anybody who's involved with the paranormal and UFOs and UFO abductions is that there are certain elements here where this could possibly qualify as a UFO abduction. And now don't start, oh boy, now he's really milking it. And well, let's just look at some of the facts before you start saying that. And first of all, I wasn't there. I don't know. But I know what people have said, and I've seen pictures of the house. So this is what the owner has said, this Willis person. He has said that he said goodbye to them and they left. Now, if you look at pictures of the house, they would not have left out the back door because that is an enclosed fence. So he must have said goodbye to them and they must have left out the front door, right? So if they left out the front door, how did they get in the backyard? Nobody's asking that. The next thing that is kind of mysterious is, how did they get to the house in the first place? I mean, did they walk there? Did they drive there? And if they drove there, as most people do, didn't they leave their car outside? Where were their vehicles? Did not anybody notice their vehicles? And why isn't anybody talking about that? Now, another thing that I find completely mysterious is this lack of a toxicology report. I mean, this is a very big deal, but what they're getting is that, oh, well, we're backed up and we can't do it right away. And, you know, really, well, okay, maybe that's true and maybe it isn't. But there's no toxicology report, and immediately the police cleared the owner of the house of any wrongdoing. So what if he poisoned these guys or something? I mean, that could be a very real possibility. Fentanyl, who knows? But that could be a possibility as well. But there is nobody explaining why there has not been a broader investigation, and nobody is explaining how those men could have, unless they left through the back door and stayed in the yard. But when most people leave, and especially in a house like that has a fenced backyard, we have to assume that they left through the front, and Willis said he said goodbye to them going out. I mean, we have to assume they went out the front door. So again, how did they get in the backyard? Now, this is where the weird paranormal UFO thing comes in. And I'll just give you an example from when I was a kid, and I've talked to other people about this, but I had an experience where I was like 3 years old, whatever, and don't really remember much.
A question, if I may. Did you ever have a paranormal experience when you were a child?
I did. I had one, and I'll just go through it very quickly. I've talked about it on a couple of my podcasts, so people might be familiar with it, but when I was a kid, I was about 3 years old, and this is my first memory ever. My brother and I slept in the same bed, and he's 3 years older than I am, and 2 nights in a row, I remember waking up on the floor, and a voice told me, get back in the bed. And it was a masculine, not my mom. It was not my mom.
So I don't know anything more than that, but 2 nights in a row it happened, and it was so disturbing to me. I went and I checked the door. I made sure that bolt was locked, and I didn't say anything to my mom about it because I thought, well, I don't know what this is. And then to cut to the chase, watching a abduction show one time, a woman had recorded her abduction, and a voice said, "Don't wake up," and that was the same voice that said, "Get back in the bed."
I remember that I kept waking up on the floor and somebody telling me to get back in the bed. And those were the exact words, "Get back in the bed." Now, you know, that I've gone through my whole life, and only when I really started doing Encounters USA and talking to people and them asking me, "Did you ever have any strange experiences?" Because I think you did.
Did you ever have a paranormal experience when you were a child?
Well, that was kind of strange, but I didn't have it one time. I had it twice that I remember. And it was my mother and my brother and sister and I. And so I knew it was not my mother telling me to get back in the bed. Now, why did they say get back in the bed? And this is what people have told me that have had experience with UFO abductions. That when they bring you back, they don't put you in the right place. They don't put you where you're supposed to go. So, did they put these men in the backyard? I don't know. All I'm saying is that people are not asking the right questions. And since I do aliens, Bigfoot, and Dogman, I have to ask that question. I have to ask, how did they go from being in the front yard to being in the backyard? When we know this is exactly what happens in alien abduction and alien encounters. So, that being said, I'm Matthew Heines for Encounters USA, and that is your update for, I believe it's January 29th, 2024. We'll see you next time on Encounters USA. And remember what we always say, always watch your back. See you next time.